Agnieszka Maria Gasperini, Andy Kaufman, and Aliza Knox have in common? Can you guess? Hi, I'm Kimi and this is going to be just a little bit different a lesson. So, a couple of things that I want to suggest right at the very beginning. Listen to why I think these people are so important. And pick something that particularly applies to you. Last but not least, please find and follow on social media those leaders who inspire you, who light you up. And by the way, those 3 hints of suggestions, things you can do immediately. That's sort of our way of doing things. And if you like it, if you've been getting value from those suggestions, please like and subscribe. We release video lessons on a pretty regular basis, and we would love to make sure that you get advance notice of when they're released. So, why is this important to you? Well, there are people who say that the best way to learn is by example, which gets me to my first example of a leader that is made a huge difference for many of us in a way that you might not recognize. And here it is. Lambert. Well, Lee has been around since the beginning, not of project management exactly. I mean, let's face it, the pyramids were definitely a project. But Lee is one of the founders of the Project Management Institute. And for many of us, myself included, that organization has had a pretty widespread impact on our professional and in many ways our personal lives. Now, Lee has demonstrated grace and resilience under extraordinarily trying times. And yet, he still reaches to the future and embraces it. Recently, one of his posts talks about how excited he was to talk about disciplined agile. And he was there when waterfall was pretty much the only way that we did things. And here he is now saying, ooh, this is so cool. So Lee is a terrific example of how you can embrace change without dishonoring the lessons of the past. Because experience and expertise have come from the past for most of us. We get better and better through experience and expertise. And what we've done in our past gives us the building blocks to go forward. Sometimes it's difficult. But if you want a great example of resilience in the face of adversity and still having enthusiasm and excitement over your chosen profession, take a look at Lee Lambert's posts about disciplined agile. Now, Agnieszka Maria Gasperini, who is also heavily involved with Project Management Institute, being a member of their board of directors, also has a wonderful perspective on leadership that broadens the definition. For many people, leadership means power, and I won't disagree that it does have something to do with power. But under Aga's guidance, here's something I would like you to think about. There is a rhythm and an exchange between leaders and those they lead in terms of where power is exercised at any given time. And the analogy that she uses, dance, I mean, her company is called Leadership Tango, is incredibly apt. There is a rhythm, there is an exchange. Who's got the physical balance? Who's got the best answer for the day? When you lead a team, there are going to be times, if you haven't already experienced it, when you don't have the best answer. So doesn't it make sense? If someone on your team does have the best answer, nice time to exchange and transfer some of that power, some of that leadership to them, so that the best answer is brought up discussed, vetted, and implemented, helping the team and your client, whether internal or external, it really doesn't matter. Leadership as a dance. I like it. Then there's Andy Kaufman. Andy is amazing, and he's had a profound impact on my reading list. And I can't thank him enough for it. Because Andy's perspective is that leadership isn't part of your job. It's part of who you are. And that means that there are nuggets and lessons and bits of wisdom that you can garner from everywhere. And he casts his net widely. So check him out. His podcast is full of interviews that you will find interesting, sometimes challenging, and sometimes very thought-provoking. Okay, no, most of the time very thought-provoking. Because Andy isn't content to just lead the teams he's working with. He wants to spread those nuggets and those bits of wisdom all across the project management community, across the community at large. Not a bad thing. And speaking of the community at large, Aliza Knox is a member of the project management community, but she is also someone who has taken her personal and professional definition of leadership to a much more holistic level. You see, she cares about her team members because they are people first. And as such, her generosity of spirit has moved her to offer counsel and advice that to some people initially seem counterintuitive. For example, recently she posted that if you have qualms about what you're doing, if you're unsatisfied with the situation, maybe now is a good time to take a look at what your options are. Now, you see, there are leaders who are not nearly as confident, compassionate, or humane as Aliza, who might think, oh, I am so not going to recommend that people leave me. Well, yeah, see, here's the thing. Aliza can afford to do that because her leadership is based in caring about people. And so she creates environments where if you're unhappy with what you're doing in her team, under her leadership, she probably already knows, you've probably already had that discussion, and she's probably helping you to find ways either within that team or, sadly, out of it, to help you gain a better perspective on your work-life balance. That takes courage, confidence, candor, and kindness. And by the way, not to spoiler alert or anything like that, but Aliza has kindly agreed to do a 3 questions interview with me in the early part of 2022. So we'll probably be releasing that in the first quarter. I'm looking forward to it. So remember our 3 hits. Learn why these kinds of leadership are applicable. Pick something that is particularly applicable to you. And then last but not least, while I would be delighted if you would find and follow these 4 amazing individuals on social media so that you can get a feed of what they're doing and saying, my last suggestion is this. Look for your own hero as well. Find somebody who inspires you, who lights you up, who teaches you without being, teaching you. Which I hope I never do in my own classes. Anyway, I'm KimiKSP. This video was brought to you by the Leadership Driven Project Management Academy. Thanks so much for joining us, and I look forward to the next time you do.